Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana, yes. In this video, I want us to answer one question. Is the government using the issue of Pastor Mackenzie, the perceived cult leader, to settle some political scores with some church leaders considered government's critics? And I'm asking that question because today, Professor Kithure Kindiki made some remarks. Remarks I want us to dig deep into to see the games being played behind the scenes. Let's have a look at the remarks. Citizen TV Kenya, we are closing in on another Malindi-based preacher who, like Mackenzie, is advancing similar religious indoctrination and extremism. Never again will people in this country lose lives on account of such misleading religious teachings. Interior CS Kithure Kindiki. Those remarks were made today as the probe on Pastor Mackenzie continues. And from some confirmed sources, the government is clearly targeting Pastor Ezekiel. And you can just add the dots to understand the games being played here. Pastor Ezekiel is a known leader or a known church leader who has been speaking truth to power. Could it be possible that the government wants to silence the pastor? That's what I want us to find out in this video. If you are watching us, but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give this video a like. Let's proceed. For the better part of today, this photo has been trending. And from that photo, you are seeing clearly Pastor Mackenzie. And that photo was taken at State House. There was a prayer meeting held there, and you are seeing Pastor Mackenzie comfortably sitting at State House. A confirmation he has all along been among the team of pastors who have been paying William Ruto a visit at State House. And it's almost very certain and very clear he might have been one of the pastors who are talking loud, or rather loudly, on how William Ruto was a God-sent leader. That's something coming out very clearly. So it's a proved fact, or rather is a fact, Mackenzie at one point visited State House. And I've also seen some photos of this pastor with several Kenya Kwanza leaders, especially members of parliament, very close to William Ruto. And speaking today in parliament, government's majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah, complained about some leaders sharing out those photos. So it's clear this is a man well known within the government circles. Now that he's being actually exposed, that alone confirms it to me that this Mackenzie pastor might have differed somewhere with those in power, those in authority, because all these years, or at the magnitude of such murders could have been happening without the government's knowledge. It's highly possible This man was well known within the circles of those in authority. And the mere fact that he has even been captured as having visited State House, you are seeing clearly where his allegiance lied. Now that he's being exposed, confirms that allegiance is shaky. Now back to the remarks by Kithure Kindiki. It's almost very certain, and this is something that Kenyans should and must know. It might be possible the government wants to sacrifice Mackenzie to settle political scores with pastors seen as government critics. And already, Pastor Ezekiel is on the chopping board. I fail to understand why, instead of the government actually addressing this thing in a very sober way, I don't just understand why the government wants to politicize it. I just don't understand that. And I'm saying that because just some few weeks back, during the Azimios demonstrations, we saw DCI sharing some photos that were taken almost 20 years ago. And they wanted the whole world to believe that those were photos taken during Azimios demonstrations. So I'm very sure that very many Kenyans will not trust the government when it says they're zeroing in on another pastor, Mackenzie's tendencies, because it's almost a fact that a whooping majority, if not 90% and above, of these so-called men and women of God, they are clearly, from what they have been doing, they are not true men and women of God. So the government should not discriminate on these leaders because maybe the leaders have been attacking them. Let the government put laws in place, laws that will make sure mushrooming of such fake churches and fake men of God does not continue. But when they now zero in, or rather when they turn it political, then they are not going to address the real issues Kenyans are actually going through. The government should make sure it puts in place laws that will actually regulate the mushrooming of these fake churches, not just targeting one individual. In my honest opinion, with the kind of investigations, the kind of DCI we are seeing in this country, I can't believe or even trust these remarks by Professor Kithure Kindiki. And I won't be wrong to conclude that most definitely in the coming days, men and women of God who have been very critical of this government are going to be profiled as cultists. That's something Kenyans should expect. And I'm saying that because somebody like Kanyari was captured live on camera conning Kenyans. Why can't it start? Why can't the government start with Kanyari? What's the government still waiting for? I honestly believe that this government is not able and will not address the real issue. They'll just be playing politics as usual. As I conclude, it's almost certain and very clear that the problem, and this is something I did explain in details in our earlier video, the problem is not even Pastor Mackenzie. The problem is our leaders. Most of these ones who have been using God. There is where the problem lies. And if you look at William Ruto and his team, and I'm saying this without taking sides at all, it's a fact that if you want to know a political group that has succeeded in destroying the church in Kenya, that's William Ruto and his team. They went to the church, they turned the church pulpit into a political arena. That alone made very many Kenyans lose faith and trust in the church and in the church leaders. And now with these remarks by Kithure Kindiki, you are seeing clearly this is a team that is now going to turn on leaders, church leaders who are not, or rather who are speaking truth to them. They are going to turn on such church leaders. And that's also another way, most definitely, they will silence such kind of leaders. And in doing that, they will also be succeeding in destroying the church in Kenya. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to support our forum, I've pinned my number on the comment section. Contact me through the number or feel free to channel your support to the number. If you have not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe. Let's meet in our next analysis. Thank you.